Biscayne National Park in Florida is facing struggle in keeping the park clean, healthy, and safe for the wildlife that calls it home. Overfishing, pollution, and invasive species threaten the wildlife as well as the further enjoyment of the park for its visitors. Biscayne National Park is located off the east coast of southern Florida in South Miami. Here we have an aerial view and an outline of the park. Biscayne is unique because 95% of the park is water. Biscayne Bay and its offshore barrier reefs are preserved here. There are 4 distinct ecosystems within the park. The shoreline mangrove swamp, where the swamps of the mainland and a rim of islands creates a nursery for young fish, mollusks, and crustaceans. The shallow waters of Biscayne Bay, which house immature and adult fish, sponges, soft corals, and manatees in soft beds of seagrass. The coral limestone keys, which are covered in tropical vegetation and create a nesting ground for endangered sea turtles. And lastly, the offshore Florida Reef, whose waters are home to over 200 species of fish, pelagic birds, whales, and hard corals. There are over 600 native fish and neotropical bird species throughout the overall park. Biscayne National Park is being overfished due to its many visitors who come to fish in the tropical water. The park prohibits the collection of many types of sea life, including threatened and endangered species. Here are a few of the 20 or so threatened and endangered species in Biscayne National Park. Biscayne is mitigating the issue in a couple of ways. Fishing and harvesting activities are strongly governed by state law. Collection of ornamental aquarium plants and animals are prohibited, and it is illegal to harm, harass, or capture a threatened or endangered species. Another piece to the issue of preserving Biscayne is pollution. The coral reefs are in danger of pollution due to some boundaries of the park being so close to large urban regions. Pollution causes changes in sunlight, nutrient loads, water temperature, salinity, and sediment load and deposition. These factors, along with other harmful substances in the water, are sickening and killing the coral, and consequently the other plants and animals. Pollution in Biscayne Bay is being mitigated by groups that are cleaning up trash in the park. Some of these cleanup sites include Convoy Point, the mouth of Maury Canal, and a couple of the park's keys. Last year alone, volunteers from Miami-Dade County removed over 40 tons of garbage from the bay. A third piece to the issue of preserving this national park is invasive species. Invasive species are non-native species of animals that cause or are likely to cause harm to the environment, including harm to other animals, plants, and even people. Here is a list of just a few of the many invasive species that are being observed in Biscayne National Park. What makes these species so invasive is that they are competing for food resources and have little to no natural predators in this area. Biscayne mitigates this issue by asking park guests to report sightings of invasive species, avoid contact with them, and to not release any species if they accidentally catch them. There are 2 sides to every argument, and conservation is no exception. One positive aspect of conservation in Biscayne National Park is that threatened and endangered species can start to recover and return to healthy populations. But in order for this to happen, fishing must be restricted in some areas. This can be an issue for fishing companies, thus creating a negative aspect. An aspect that can be both positive and negative is an increase in the population of a species. This is positive because the goal of conservation is to return threatened and endangered species to a healthy population. But the negative aspect is that once this happens, other species will be competing for the same resources. In conserving an environment, we want everything to be at a happy, healthy balance. But the fact is, with human interference, there will always be a consequence.